afternoon, good evening. This is your friend, your mentor, Dharam Singh. I'm very excited today to have Rahul here. Rahul Peroor. Welcome, Rahul. How are you today?
I'm doing very well, Dharam. How are you doing today?
I'm very excited. I'm excited to bring you here and talk about you and your journey and how I say miraculously you completed two certificates in just the difference of 2 weeks. No, not even 2 weeks, 7 days. So that's unusual I've seen. So I thought bring you here and talk about you and talk about your journey and maybe you can inspire some of the people today. And of course, that's one thing, but we are going to talk about strategic leadership in action. That's the main thing, and how we can bridging vision to execution and deliver the value, which is the main job of a project program portfolio manager, is to maximize the delivery of the value to organization within the time frame. Yeah, so thank you, all of you. I'd like to welcome all of you. You have been coming, joining again, and I'm sure you're getting some value out of this. And my job is to bring as best possible people around the world and bring them here to talk about their journey, learn from that, and hopefully from the discussion I'm going to have with Rahul, you will find some gold nuggets and you can apply that into your day-to-day project program portfolio management and even real life. Who knows? Yeah. So Rahul is coming with a strong background. Let me talk about. But Rahul is in Arizona, and he's working for BHP. BHP. Yeah, I am familiar with BHP because it's an Australian company, and I've done some work in past. Some of the people from BHP, they're great. But BHP here, this is a BHP in US, with the mining, especially mining in industry, which they are doing great job. And of course, if you have people like Rahul, of course, they have to do a great job anyway, no doubt. So Rahul comes with strong background in engineering and program leadership, with experience leading complex, multi-stream initiatives and working across diverse stakeholders, global teams. And he comes with a deep understanding of strategy, connect to execution, and how leaders create alignment, influence, and clarity. So that's one reason he was able to get this PfMP certificate within after 3 days of my attending my PfMP boot camp. He attended. Actually, he completed his PgMP on 26th of July. And is that correct? Yeah, June
June.
20, June 26th. And then he attended my boot camp virtually, 27, 28, 29. And then on July 2nd, I got a message that you passed the PfMP exam. That's really exciting. And I know you took long time to come to the point doing PgMP. When you register, you stopped, and then it started again. Dharam, I want to do it now. And within 4 or 5 weeks, you smashed both PgMP, PfMP exams. So really awesome to see this happening. And yeah, so let's find out from you. Tell us more about you and what do you do, what kind of programs you're running at the moment. Yeah, so please take us through the journey.
Yeah, thank you, Dharam, for the kind words. Hello, everyone. I am Rahul Peroor. Basically, I'm a civil engineer. I did all my undergraduate studies back in India. I'm from a state of Kerala back in India, and I moved to United States in 2004 to pursue my master's in hydrology and water resources. Ever since I've been in the mining industry, that's mean I started with a company called Knight Pisold in 2006, and it's been nearly 2 decades now that I'm in the mining industry, working on complex projects and programs. So I managed my first project in 2010, I remember, and this was a big ask for me. It was very complex to me at that time, and I had the support from a lot of mentors and peers at that time to help me with that journey. And I took my PMP exam in 2014. That's nearly a decade back. And then eventually in 2020, I joined BHP as a program manager. And I've been with BHP for the past 5 years. What I basically do is I manage a portfolio for tailings, which are byproducts of mining operations where you construct dams. And wherever there's dams, there is potential for failures and you try to mitigate risks. And your prime objective is to align with some of the strategic objectives that the company has set in to minimize or prevent impact to downstream communities and environment and groundwater. So there are various sensitivities around these complex aspects and constraint that I try to manage. So currently I'm managing a large program that involves multiple projects that has several synergies. And we have a timeline to get those projects completed within a 10-year lifespan. And we are well into execution of one of the major projects that has been successfully delivered lately. And I'm on to the next one. So that's in a nutshell my overall experience in the program and the portfolio management world.
Perfect. Very nice. I'm impressed by and you're showing me the location where the dam you're making and all those things. So
Yeah,
it's so exciting to see that we have seen big dams and you're making them. That's awesome. Right.
absolutely.
I'm actually looking forward to see you in the Arizona PMI conference, which is on 12, 13, 14 November. So it's in your home state. I'm sure you're going to look after me.
Absolutely, we'll do that. We'll catch up for a dinner maybe when you're here.
I
Absolutely.
we'll have. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Okay, guys, I do have poll questions, but I cannot find them at the one. I somehow I'm lost. I don't know. But I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to request you to put on the chat. Okay. So it's a very simple, straightforward question. What best describe your current role? You can say you're a project manager, program manager, portfolio manager, PMO, or serial leader, director, or are you starting your journey, or whatever it is. So please answer on the chat. That will help me to keep building my questions or discussion around. Yeah, chat. Can you try chat working up for you or not? Yeah, is it working? Yeah. So please write your what role you are in. I know I have as part of the registration I do have, but I just want to have a clear understanding where you're coming from. More you're coming project level, program level, portfolio level, and maybe nobody is responding. That means the chat is not working. I can see chat from Rahul.
Yeah, can you see your chat as well, Dharam?
You can see chat.
Yeah, I can see your Q1 sort of.
Yeah, I said put a question there.
Yeah.
Chat. All right. Okay, so you can't see chat. So can you write on the question pad? Maybe your question pad can work there. I can see a question already. And my program and career hoping to transition to teaching. Yay, don't worry. Brian, I see you. I remember you seeing in Chicago. So yeah, you can write on the question pad. That will look, that's equally okay. I don't know why this system is not allowing to write. Okay. All right. So let's continue. Let me ask my first question. My first question to Rahul is earning both PgMP and PfMP within a short period of time is a remarkable achievement. What motivated you to pursue them back to back? What was
Absolutely.
your strategy? Why you did it? Of course, we like to know that. And how can you please take us through the journey?
Yeah. I'll start with why. So basically, as I just mentioned earlier, as I was talking through my experience, that as I joined PHP in 2022 as a program manager, I had to have this shift in my thought process because I was coming with a sort of a project management background to a program management mindset where I was still looking at things from a deliverable perspective and more like what are the scope, cost, constraints kind of scenarios. It took me a while to get used to the actual process of the program and portfolio management. Luckily, I had access to several leadership in my company that had extensive experience. So I had extensive networking with them to understand the process, as well as I enjoy doing this continuous learning, attending PMI sessions and keeping me up to date on the current standards and process for program management. So I took it up as a challenge to start reading up on some of the standards and reviewing some examples of certain successful programs and projects. So that tend to motivate me as I was going through the journey. Now, why both back to back? Actually, my journey started with, as you're aware, that I'm on signing up for a PgMP program with you. And it took me a while to get used to the back to the studying mode, I say, because I used to do it from a reflection perspective. But for me to sit down and actually start reading things for a long time, I took a while for me to get used to that. That's why I signed up for your personal mentoring program that I had extensive access to you for 6 weeks that I fully used, I believe, to discuss some real world examples and scenarios from my program and portfolio. So I did spend considerable amount of time preparing for the PGMP. Even though I did back to back, I spent solid 3 months preparing for the PGMP exam, starting with reading to the standards, your material, doing simulation exams, trying to relate that and map that to the actual real world solution that I'm dealing with, put me interested in going through that journey. After I completed my PGMP journey, I was not intending, to be honest, to do the PfMP right away. I had no plans of doing that. But immediately after that, I signed up for your 3-day course, Dharam, for the portfolio management. And what I observed that when I was going through the content with you, what I observed was that there were so much similarities between that PGMP and PfMP in terms of governance strategy, risk management, stakeholder engagement. I know there are key difference between PGMP focused on how you deliver value versus and PFMP more on why to invest kind of scenarios. But I could easily relate to that with that natural progression. So after your 3-day course, I felt, and when we did all those questions together, I started feeling more comfortable. And I just took a simulation test right after our 3-day course, and I remember I got an 80%, so I knew it that I'm ready. So I just decided I'm just going to go and take it in the next day or so, and took it. And luckily, I ended up passing it. So I should say, to summarize, that it was not just a quick, I did not do any miracle. I studied thoroughly on the PGMP that really helped me just focus on the difference between PGMP and PfMP during that timeline that I worked with you to have that progression and success on the PfMP exam.
Yeah. And I know it took time to come to the PGMP.
Yeah.
And I always tell to my student, if you are intended to do both PGMP, PfMP, try to do them very close to each other. It may not be 1 week, it may be a month. I'll suggest 4 to 6 weeks. Of course, your application is the one of the key thing. If your application approved, it should not take more than 4 to 6 weeks. And try to do them back to back, because a lot of learning, as Rahul mentioned, like strategy, risk, communication, the benefits, value, almost everything is discussed at a portfolio level. Of course, there's a different perspective and everything, but doing them together is a huge difference compared to, I see people come back after 2 years, 3 years, then now I'm ready to do PfMP. Then momentum going down, you start again. It takes a lot of effort to come back to the same level. So, as I said, if you have to do it, and do it together, almost together. Try to get the application done, because both applications will take time. My suggestion is, okay, let's start the PGMP. Do the application as soon as possible. A PGMP application is a little simpler with only 3 questions, and you submit. And you start doing the PGMP learning process. And at the same time, you start doing PfMP application. 1 week of that, submit it. By the time you finish your PGMP, your PfMP application also approved, and another 3 to 4 weeks, 1 week, 3 to 4 weeks, whatever, shortest as soon as possible. Do mock exams, use my app, whatever works for you to make sure you understand your weak areas and work on them and to get the results. I get excited when you start talking about PGMP, PfMP. So you made looks easy, attitude, right mindset, and right preparation. Of course, mentor. I have to take some credit. You will be there. Along with the Rahul, now I have 587 PGMPs. I think it's a good number to feel proud of, and 185 PfMPs. So this is around 8% of global number. I like to reach my 1,000 PGMP and 500 PfMP. I know all these numbers are great, but whoever come to me, I like to see that you get the best value from me and you get the results for yourself and give me one more number. Yay. It's all about me. Can I get one more number? Yes. Yeah. So thank you for trusting Rahul in this journey. And I'm very happy that you got the result. And perfect. Now we're talking about PMOCP. Actually, next week you're joining my PF PMOCP program. Fantastic.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, great. So my next question, what was your overall strategy to prepare both certificates so efficiently, and how did you balance your work-life balance? I know one thing I tell, your wife was away, she was traveling, but you were still with your son. It's not less effort, but you still have lots of responsibility, but you still did it. So what did you do to balance your work life? Which your work is very hectic. You're traveling. Yesterday you were traveling and you're traveling all the time. So managing the work, home, and the studies.
Absolutely. It was a challenge. And that's why I said during earlier part of my discussion during the PgMP, it took me a while to get to that rhythm of finding a balance. And as you said, my wife was away on a trip and I was with my son. So I had to brush up my cooking skills at the same time. And he helped me quite a bit, to be honest, as well. So basically, what I had to focus on is as I'm going through the journey, I wanted to do that more as like a practical reflection because initially I had it as like a more as an academic exam. That's the way I initially pictured it. Then when I started reading and started relating this to actual real world scenarios and my actual problems that I had, it started getting more realistic and interesting in a way. And then for me, the key aspect was to dedicate some time. Every day was not possible. What I tried to aim for was at least a 5 to 10 hour preparation per week. And that includes your mentoring classes, Dharam, that helped. And I must say that the personal mentoring I took with you for that 6 weeks helped me to structure that preparation in a nice manner and progress it. So what I used to do was that before the classes, I used to read up on the topics and have a educated discussion with you for that 1.5 hours, mostly focused on questions and my concerns. And because it is a challenge, because PMI does things certain way that you might do in a different way in your own company. And nothing is right or wrong, but you're looking at opportunities for improvement, but you might have some specific questions on why they're doing this. So reflecting all that was helpful. So in summary, what I was trying to say was that dedicating 5 to 10 hours per week on a consistent basis. Sometimes you put more effort on a weekend, or some days while you're traveling, having a standard with you sometimes just to review and refresh on certain aspects helped me across that journey. And especially for the PgMP, I thought that the mentoring helped me quite a bit to structure the way I wanted to learn things. And that also gave me the confidence to go for and actually write that exam, basically.
Perfect. Good to hear this. So of course, you have to have a structure, especially when you're working so hard and
Yeah.
cooking and everything. Every day you have to dedicate some time. Without
Yeah.
that, nothing will happen. Of course, I will suggest sometime in the morning, sometime in the evening, maybe use my app for listening, traveling, and watch videos when you're traveling, especially flying in and out. That can also help you to grasp your knowledge. Some people listen to my recording while they're in the gym or doing something, whatever can help you to keep building the momentum, because at the end of the day, it's all about you, the structure you're going to build, and you're going to get success. And I did not mention, but I think you both exam you passed with above target. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah.
It's not just passing the exam, just to tick in the box, but you did pass both exam with all above target. And I think the time you took, how long it took for PGMP exam?
The PGMP I took more. I took close to 3 hours, but the
Yeah.
PFMP I took around 2 hours. Yeah.
There you go. So look, not only passing the exam with all about target, within the 4 hour exam, completing 2 hours. Of course, a lot of effort goes behind the scene. The half the time compared to many people even struggle to complete the exam. So I know many people here they are already gone through the PGMP exam, PfMP exam. They are coming and listening to me here. When you may be planning to do, I'd like to know if you can put on the chat. In the chat, if not working, at least on the question pad, to say if you are preparing for an exam, PGMP, PfMP, PCP, or any other exam. So that will be good. Normally I have a poll, but somehow the poll is not working. But if you can mention that on the question pad, that will be awesome. So that if I'm talking to you, I can, or you're talking to me, I know what you're talking about. Okay. So please take your time. I know the question pad is working because yes, a lot of people are answering there. Oh, I did not see that. And okay. Yeah, now I can see. Actually, I just click one of the question and say, hey, well, nobody writing anything. But now I can see there's so many questions there, so many responses. Perfect. All right. So while I'm talking to Rahul next, and Rahul talking, I will go through your question and I will ask questions during this discussion. But thank you for keep writing your questions here. Perfect. My next question to you, Rahul, and especially around the application, especially both applications are complex and writing a lot of things. Many professionals struggle with application and parallel stage, especially PgMP, PfMP. And how did you approach the application process? And what tips would like to share to ensure success? And once you're done, I will also try to give my tips as well. But yeah, please go ahead.
So I can walk through the process that I use for both. So basically, for starting with PgMP, that compared to the PMP exam, this was a new process for me after 10 years. I started with watching one of your webinars or one of the YouTube videos that you had, where you walk through some of the tips and the tricks about completing a PgMP application. That was my start to get an understanding of what is required. And then what I did was I quickly read through the actual standard just one time, really, just to understand what the knowledge areas and what the processes are. Because typically when you manage a program, even though you do all these different process and activities, but you don't look them in the lens of those knowledge areas specifically. So that kind of gave me a good understanding of what the PMI methodology and the processes are. So basically then what I did was, in my first attempt, is try to summarize my summary or the summary experience summary, focusing on what are the strategic objectives that my program is delivering, try to make an understanding of what the benefits are. And it was critical that you make it quantifiable, what the KPIs were, and talk about on a high level in relation to the PMI norms and standard, what the governance strategy was, and how the complex the stakeholder structures were. So basically, I tried to use some of the real world examples that I'm dealing with as part of the summary, as well as the different functional questions that it had, with more clarity in terms of those aspects. So for example, in terms of governance, focusing on the steering committee, the phase gate review process that we undergo as we progress the program, in line with some of the PMI terminology and methodology. And of course, at that time, I had signed up for your program, Dharam. I shared the application with you, and you provided me with further tips and refinements that I really appreciated. That gave me a good insight. So it took me overall approximately 2 weeks to get that application completed and the review done. And I submitted that right away. For both applications, I don't know, because of my luck, I did not go through the audit process at all. And my PgMP application was approved within 15 days or so. My PfMP was approved within 8 days. So it was just a quick approval. Now, having gone through that PgMP experience, the PfMP application was a little bit more easier in a way, because I could understand the process very well. And I still reached out to you, Dharam, for some guidance there, and just have you look at my application and provide some guidance. That extremely helped out. So I feel that some of the guidance, along with some of the reading I did prior to those, my real world examples, those helped me complete that application process in a nutshell.
Perfect. If your application is good, PMI don't take too long, because because they're getting so many applications at any time, they like to get as many applications they can clear the desk. Okay. If your application is good and right person think of, they generally don't have to do much, and they just quickly approve it. So your application 7 days, and if your application 7 days, and PgMP 2 weeks is exceptional. I've seen application can take from 1 day to 2 months as well. And sometimes it can be pure luck. You just go into backup file and one day somebody look into. But yeah, if your application is good, generally 7 to 10 days, 15 days, application should be able to approve. Try to provide as many examples as you can, specific with numbers. So the purpose of these applications, especially panel review, is to look your application from, do you really have the experience? If you write, hey, I created a benefit manager plan and this is the content and this is, no, they don't want to know that because they can read if there's somebody want to know. They want to know, how did you create the benefit manager plan? What was the benefit? Specific benefit. Give an example. What process did you follow? Did you create by yourself? Did you talk to a sponsor? Did you run some surveys? Did you do something? Take them through the journey so that when I'm reading your application, it makes sense to me. And I don't think, okay, yeah, he did it. He looked at strategic plan, he talked to the sponsor and few other survey, the other thing. Then he created the document, approval process, and then how the management of benefit. So more specific you can get there, your application. And if you try to put more and more theoretical responses, or I've seen some people taking the copy of the exam simulator, the task, and just start writing. No, if you're just doing it, your application will either take a long time to get rejected, because it can, even if rejection can take a long time. And maybe you not pass at all, because PMI give you one chance to revise it. Okay. If your application do come back to you, my suggestion is don't just play with that, because if you submit it again, the chance of failing is very, very high. Reach out to me, or maybe a person like me who can help you with the application. I've probably reviewed more than 1,500 applications. Sometimes I rewrite the whole application because I don't like it going through. I just, okay, let me write it again for you. I think PfMP application, I did do some work for you on that. So I want to make sure that your application has everything you need, which PMI is looking for, so you pass the application and go all the way. Okay, so thank you for sharing that experience. And I do offer the application package only. If you just want application, that's fine. Or you can join my mentoring program, personal mentoring program, group mentoring program. And I can see number of people here, they already registered to one of my upcoming programs. So I'm looking forward to get you started with the PgMP, PfMP. PfMP is 6th of November. I have people on the 15th of November PgMP program, 21st November, and PMOCP. PMOCP is happening next week. Anyway, and the good news about PMOCP is that this application does not have panel review. So we don't have to worry about it. All right, so I saw a comment previously saying that you cannot see the webcam. Is the webcam still not working? Or anybody have problem with the webcam? Or is it just maybe bandwidth problem or something? Can somebody confirm that you can see us as well? Yep, perfect. Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, Pankaj, I know you. I have to think again to call your name. But yes, you did PfMP very well, and now you're on the track to do PMOCP. And love to see you if you want to join my next week program. I know it's going to be a little bit odd timing for you because I'm starting here 8 o'clock Dallas time, and it will go up to late night for you. But I can tell you it's going to be a lot of learning and discussion in the class. So please consider joining that program. And hopefully you see Rahul in the same program.
Awesome.
Okay, great. My next question to you, Rahul. What was the biggest challenge you faced while preparing PgMP, PfMP, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, so the couple of challenges, the key one was time management that I told you about earlier, that it took me a while to get used to that mindset, change from academic mindset to actually going through it as like a practical reflection rather. So that took me at least a month to get used to it, and definitely having some discussions with you over the course of that 6 weeks helped me get there. The other challenge that I typically dealt with was I tend to overcomplicate questions, and I used to overanalyze it. Rather than going with your gut, I tend to overanalyze questions quite a bit beyond what it should be. And sometimes you go with your gut on, this is what you do in your company, but with the right mindset that what would a program manager following the PMI standards will look at it from. So that sort of transition took me quite a bit of time in terms of getting used to having a number of practice questions, that especially those 10 questions after every knowledge area that you focused on, and having those discussions helped. But then after that, doing some simulation tests, especially I did all 5 for the PgMP. That helped me with the time management. And I remember the first exam I took, it took me 4 hours to complete the exam. And the last minute, I was barely trying to guess some answers towards the end. Practicing that quite a bit made you perfect as you are practicing more and more and revising some of the knowledge areas that you need to improve on. So it's a combination of things, basically. So yeah, overanalyzing things was a problem for me at the start, which as you start answering a lot of questions, you start to get that feel. Oh, this is exactly what it means. It takes you a while. It took me a month or so to get used to that clarity on how to answer those questions.
Yeah, sometimes when you do the, you try to understand from the knowledge you have gained. It's not about, not only the knowledge. Of course, knowledge is important, standard, PMBOK, and whatever you go through. But some question is about thinking, PMI way of thinking.
Yeah.
So even if you get thinking as in a question may, sometimes you have no idea about the question, but if you start thinking what PMI expect me to do, follow the standard, follow the documentation, you can sometimes get to the right answer. And that's where the PMI mindset is required for you. And that's what you learn. And when you do the mock exams, so you said you did 5 exams, but I have now 9 mock exams for PgMP. And that's where it's like PGMP exam simulator set is there. And anybody can get them. Yeah, or I don't know if you use my app or not, but app is also there, and with the 9 exam and practice questions as well with videos, as well as and other thing I didn't mention, like your tips and hints are there. Exam and confusion buster. One other thing I'm proud of, where is the common sense? Confusion buster, which is I think 65 of the similar terms we use all the time. Goals or objective, risk and issues, and roles and responsibility, rewards, evaluation. They're so commonly connected, so well connected. Sometimes very difficult for us to differentiate them. So I have set of confusion buster in my app as well, and videos and all the things. I try to make my app as comprehensive possible. Whatever learning I have gained through a period of time, and I'm still reviving and revising and modernizing it more and more. I know it's all efforts goes into this, but I want to make sure when I leave the planet, I'm leaving something valuable for this planet. I think it's a big thing. I'll ask you to value. Anyway, something. Anyway, so look. Anyway. Okay, yeah. My next question to you is, from your experience, how did preparing for an earning board certificate enhances your perspective on strategic leadership in managing program and portfolio? Yes, you got the certificate. Now, what has changed for you in your day-to-day program and portfolio management?
Yeah. There are more than the certificate, that thorough preparation that we went through as part of the mentoring program, as well as reading up on things and analyzing things against the real world example, helped me understand some gaps from my leadership style in terms of some of my thinking. I can tell you, as I mentioned to you, I came to as a program manager with a lot of project management background. So I used to be like a task-focused person, celebrating small wins as we go along, milestones. It helped me think more in terms of a high-level strategy, even though we do celebrate small wins with the team from a motivation perspective and a psychological safety perspective, but not losing that oversight of the long purpose for why we are doing the project. Emphasizing that during the program or portfolio meetings is critical, along with just making sure that any portfolio or program that you select or recommend to the leadership team, making sure that they are well aligned as part of your review and your recommendations, because you have a lot of accountability as part of the organization's key member to provide the right recommendations. And so those tools help me understand how to prioritize based on balancing risk and balancing benefit and value. So there are several key concepts that help me refine those understanding quite a bit, along with some of my understanding on the governance aspects of things considerably changed, because I used to look at steering committee as another update meeting. I'm just going and presenting what changed, and these are the change management I need to get approved on, but never leveraged in terms of their experience and having some healthy, meaningful discussions on some of the challenges that I'm facing. So leveraging some of those discussions also helped us as part of my involvement as a leader, as a portfolio and a program manager. So I know I touched on some very specific concepts. Those were the key things that I can think of that helped me with the certification and preparation. Dharam.
Yeah. And of course, when you read, learn, and see how can I apply the knowledge in my day-to-day programs, that helps you. And when you start applying the knowledge in your day-to-day program, that helps you in doing the exam more effectively, more efficiently. So it goes both ways. John, you did well, but I see people, Dharam, just tell me how to memorize things. No, I'm not here to give you memorization tips and just pass exam, which somebody can tell you. And memorization will not work in this kind of exam, I tell you. PgMP, PfMP, with the scenario question, 170 question after question. If you memorize, chances that you're going to forget something, high pressure environment, and you're going to make unwanted mistakes, which can be very costly. One mistake means that's a $600 and another 4 to 6 weeks of high pressure, high pressure environment for you. Because now you go back and you family and everybody starts saying, hey, you did not pass the exam. The confidence also impacted. So do it, of course, start applying the knowledge. Don't just learn it for applying. And when you apply, the knowledge becomes part of you. More you apply, become more and more ready for the exam. Yeah. All right. I have a question. I will ask a question. But before that, I want to make sure I put a few links on the chat, including links to how to prepare for the PgMP exam and PfMP exam. The video for that, make sure you download it and use it. I did spend a lot of time taking step-by-step application to audit, to panel review, and various question discussion. You will really find that webinar very effective. And if you like this kind of discussion, and there are hundreds of videos available on two YouTube channel, please go through that and maybe subscribe the channel and learn. And I like to see comments as well. If you can put some comments which help me to or encourage me to bring more and more people a discussion. At the end of the day, I should feel motivated. Why I'm bringing people here? Because I like to create a knowledge pool which can be available for anybody, anytime. I think which is great here. So please check the chat and see whatever can work for you. All right. So I have a question here, Rahul, for you. How much change management you are applying in your role as a program manager? Is your organization supporting change initiative? Where you have been, I'm trying to convert he to you, where you able to table the benefit to the leadership? You got the question?
Yeah. Yeah, clear. Yeah. So the answer to the question is that I do deal with changes on a quarterly basis, at least for the last couple of years, especially in the mining industry where your strategies are sometimes driven by commodity prices and other aspects. Your prioritization criteria and other aspect changes. It'll tell you I'm dealing with the current change right now as we speak on reprioritizing strategies for some of my programs and projects. So I do that consistently. And that's where I talked about earlier, leveraging some of those experience from the steering committee members has been extremely helpful to get that firsthand information of what they are thinking and then try to make decisions on how you tackle those changes and how do you communicate that to your project managers and your program managers that report to you is a key aspect. So be restructuring or reprioritizing project or change in budgets or timelines, that is something that I deal with on a regular basis and work with the leadership team to implement that as effectively as possible without causing much disruptions, because these things can have a large toll on your team. I'll give an example. So we were working on a project that everybody was putting their sweat and tears into it, and there had been some decisions made to maybe shelf that project as we get close to the execution. And how do you inform your team event that and you have to make that tough decision, right? These things happen, and it's important that you don't lose of the overall larger purpose on why we are making that change. Having that transparency and clarity while you're communicating to your team members is very important as you navigate through that changes. Hope that I answered that question.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much. And thanks for the question, Duvet. Perfect. All right. So my next question to you, how important, I know you told me many times and talked about, important was mentoring, guidance, or peer support in your success, and what advice would you give to the aspirant seeking the right support system?
It's extremely important. I can tell you that all this PfMP and PgMP journey, I did not do it alone. I couldn't have done it without all the support from the mentorship. And a mentoring program with you was one aspect, definitely, Dharam. But again, from my company as well, I am blessed and lucky to have several senior leadership, along with my previous peers and company leads that I still keep in touch with, that meet them for a coffee and just talk about some of the challenges that you're facing and get their perspective on it. You never know. In a 30-minute conversation, there could be a couple of small conversations that could change certain perspective that you have about certain things. It's immeasurable and extremely valuable to start with. So I still try to maintain that relationship through networking, as well as attending some of those PMI chapters events where you listen to a lot of presentations and try to understand the success story of certain programs, the failures of certain story, and the lessons learned. Obviously, that's also very critical. So it's a combination of things, mentoring you're leveraging some of those mentoring from your previous experience, along with a mentorship program that you have devised extremely well, Dharam. That is extremely helpful in overall success as a leader, as well as passing some of the certification courses like a PfMP and PgMP.
Yeah. Thank you for accepting me as your mentor. It was great working with you. Look, mentoring or coaching, like even I've seen people like the best runners, athletes, best players, they have the coach, a mentor. And I've seen this in a board, our fastest 100-meter runner, and there's a movie around that. His coach is, and I don't say that I'm that, like this coach even can't walk properly. He's so fat and so bulky. He said, how can he is the coach or mentor of this person who is the fastest man in the world? But it's nothing to do with who the other person. He can see, the mentor is the one who can see you from outside and guide you what you can improve little bit, which can have a huge impact. With little corners, the chips here and there cutting can make you a little bit more perfect than you are. So that's the role a mentor should be playing. And that I think I've been playing for some time now. I know what to do with specific person. And you know that every person is unique. Your story is unique. Who you are, how you've grown up, you may be the smartest person in the class or maybe the dumbest person in the class, whatever it is. As a mentor, first thing, you should not be criticizing whoever you're coming to, and look at how can you add value to the person's life. I'm talking about me as a mentor, but also you as a mentor to other people. Like you guided by several leaders. You are the mentor for many people. And I recommend everybody here to be mentor for other people as well. And the people who are not as privileged as you are, give them little light, little guidance, that little direction. That can be a huge change for somebody's life. Thank you. And I just remember, if anybody want to join my program, I'm very happy and excited. I know some people don't care about money, but if something is stopping you, I'm prepared to give you 10% discount to any of the things maybe not exam voucher, but any of the things up to 10% discount, starting from $4.95 to $249. That can be used for some of the programs. So if you are interested to get the discount coupon, please put that on the WhatsApp message, not WhatsApp, but in the question pad, or book my time with me, talk to Dharam, www.talktodharam.com, and find out the best program for yourself and gain some momentum and get it done. And anyway, so it's enough about me, it's about you guys. But thank you for sharing your experience through this. My next question is, finally, what advice would you give to the professionals who are considering pursuing PgMP, PfMP, even both, or maybe to other certificates, to accelerate their careers and become stronger strategic leaders?
Yes, of course, yeah. So I'll tell you what my mindset is, and my advice is similar to my mindset, is that don't treat this exam as academic exams, because that's what my initial mindset was when I was looking at it. Treat them as a practical reflection. I know I said that before, but it really helped to get a perspective when you're studying, to relate everything to your practical experience rather than trying to, or coming up with a scenario in your mind on what this happens, how would you tackle that, and look at some of those standards. That is definitely a way to go. And then for me, it requires a strong motivation. I say you go for it. soon after you get your application, I'll suggest that book an exam date right away. I'm not saying right away in the sense of within a week or so, but at least have a defined timeline, like a program where you need to deal with a defined timeline for managing program. Then that will give you extra motivation to prepare yourself and go for it. And as you're learning these content and reading through the standards, please relate that to your own experiences. I can tell you, you'll enjoy different knowledge areas, starting with strategic alignment, how a governance structure should be established, what is the purpose of it, what is the purpose of like stage gate reviews. So you can question yourself in terms of, am I following those paths? Am I making the decisions the right way? Is that effective? Am I communicating this to the leadership team in the right manner? So that'll prompt and trigger a lot of questions in your mind that you can, of course, discuss with Dharam and your network or peers to get an answer with. I recommend that you get started on that journey as soon as possible, have a defined timeline so that you can become a leader with much more clarity and authenticity as you navigate through the program.
Yeah. And my very strong advice to everyone, especially the current environment is very unstable. With the AI-based systems are changing, and a lot of companies are doing things utilizing artificial intelligence to do a lot of jobs, and that is impacting a lot of project program management roles and many other roles. And it's reality. I saw a couple of days ago, Amazon is getting rid of 27,000 or 29,000 workforce, and their Accenture is going through, and you hear all these things, and it's not. And yeah, until it comes to us, we just think, oh, it probably may not be good enough or whatever it is. But it is real. I've seen myself 2 or 3 times in my life when I was working. And sometimes they just come and tell you, hey, you have to leave. So what? You said I'm the best person in the team. No, it doesn't matter. We have the top instruction for the top management that some of the people have to go. And problem happen with that is at this stage, they don't see too much about, look, they want to keep as best as people as they can. And at the time, they look for your experience, of course, how good you are. Second is, of course, they like to see your certifications and other things. And of course, how much contributing you are into the organization. And and in this uncertain environment, my suggestion is get some certificates and be, I would say, ahead of game, say. So you should be ahead of game, so that if the things come up and down, the chance of you get picked up for anything like this is less compared to other. And if you do go through this restructuring thing happening, if you are in the same situation, my suggestion, get a D certificate as early as possible. PfMP, if your PfMP is not there, project manager role is impossible. PgMP, PfMP, PMOCP, some of the RMP can be useful for you. So see which certificate is useful for you, and be ready for any of such situation. The problem happens when you are in the situation when you lost a job and you cannot find the job and you run out of money. Now it's difficult for you to get the certificate as well, because these certificates are costly. PMI charge $800 up to $800, and my fees and every other books and everything else is costly. But when you don't have a job, then it's become too much, because now your family is, I know you have some saving, but that spending at the time is more difficult compared to when you are working. You can find some 1 hour, 2 hour, spare some money. You're going to be better position compared to others. Because the reality is here. You like it or not, ChatGPT and all the AI systems are there, which slowly start impacting our life one way or other. So I don't want to create a gloomy picture, but at the same time, we need to be ready for anything happens, be ready for that. Okay, I get excited here. I have one audience question I will ask you. And also I have a PDU code. So before you go, you want to get the PDU code as well. I will give you while Rahul is talking. How should students in project manager field prepare themselves for future work role and risk like handling a project? So this is coming from Martha from Kenya. And thank you for the question. Rahul, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Martha, for the question. As you said, as a student, it is important that you try to understand all the process and terminology, because you definitely don't have the real world experience at that time. But obviously, the best way to go about this is reviewing a number of case studies, participating in some volunteering opportunities, and internships will help you get that actual experience in terms of how project managers think and how they deal with their problems. And Talking specifically about risk, one of the key things that you will learn as you go through this career is that avoiding a risk is not really that practical. You need to find a right balance to minimize that risk or mitigate that risk, because avoiding a risk completely can be very expensive. So it's a big challenge to figure out like an optimal solution for how do you optimize risk delivery. So basically, my advice to you is to review a lot of case studies, primarily focus on the projects that actually failed, so that you can understand what they are thinking in terms of why it happened and what you can do when you step up to that role that you can do better. Connect to the PMI local chapter and then try to attend those meetings and seminars and try to understand all the concept that they're presenting to those seminars, and then actually develop a network of mentors or peers that you can reach out to and discuss several aspects of different things that you listen during the seminar and get a better understanding on how you tackle several things. Because until you get a real world example, you have to think of several scenarios, think of the everyday things that you do as a project to get a good understanding of how you deal with certain situations. So that's how you can prepare yourself as you enter that journey.
Yeah, very well said. So project management field is very interesting, and it's like, of course, it's a challenging as well. You cannot just, hey, everybody is working project management, I should be project manager. Project management is interesting, but at the same time, it's very challenging. If you don't have right attitude or right tools with you, it can be very challenging. So, of course, you've learned the better way of doing things, how to manage your risk, how to make sure the risk requirements are clearly defined, the scope is clearly there, schedule is there. So everything is planned and structured so that when you come to the real execution, you are more prepared. Okay? So, yes, be prepared for these whatever work you're doing or future work you're going to handle, projects you're going to work on, project program portfolio. And PMI has done a great job by creating this standard as a PMBOK, Project Management Book of Knowledge, and standard for portfolio management, program management, several other. So the book of knowledge we have, and it's up to you how much you can gain out of that. And of course, go through them. If you can afford to go through some training program and come to my program, happy to have you as my student and take you through the journey. Yeah. Okay. And one question here is, this is for both of you. How organizations across the world treating PPP management or this certification and these roles? Do such organizations see value or still taking its cost non-revenue generating? I don't think they are. These roles, these certifications, project program portfolio management are becoming more and more strategic roles. It's no more just do things and what nobody can do, give it to project manager. These are becoming more and more strategic roles. And you can, Rahul, you can tell me from your point of view. And especially in US and Northern American countries, organization, they are following more and more project program portfolio management, and especially with certifications. More and more job requirements are coming with PgMP, PfMP. PMPs are there, all these rules are there. So
exactly, that was my comment, especially regarding the PgMP certification. I see that much more regularly now in some of the job descriptions in especially within my organization or my department, especially after discussion with my one-up leader. PgMP was recommended by him to be pursued as part of my development plan, because they do see that as more like a strategic role where project manager's mindset is more in terms of delivering projects, but you are focused on delivering value, and a portfolio manager, you're thinking of why to invest in other aspects. It's a different kind of thinking mindset that you have for different managers. So we do have roles as program manager and portfolio manager in our specific organization meant for those specific structures. So yeah, those roles are again more popular in my opinion as well within my organization as well as outside, just because of this perspective of the importance of strategic thinking is becoming more and more popular, I must say.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for the questions. These questions are keeping us more alive, discussion. So thank you. If you notice on your chat, I have added a few things, the course identifier, PDU code. So this will give you one PDU. And if you're watching this video as a recording, so please reach out to me or my team. We'll help you with giving the PDU code. And if you want to talk to me, I have put my link as well talktodharam.com, www.talktodharam.com. You can book my time if you're paying for certificate or just want to discuss about the career move or something. Happy to spend time with you. Or you just want to talk to me. I have nothing else to do and you have nothing else to do. Let's talk. Not really. Yeah, if you are interested to gain the PD is given. And if you're interested to get some discount coupon for me, I mentioned that email for you for that. Team at vCareprojectmanagement.com. Happy to share the discount coupon and get you enrolled in the program and get you certificate. Hopefully, I'm talking to you next 2-3 months and just talking, and you also talking about how you inspired by Rahul in this discussion, and you got the certificate in the record time. I'd love to see that. And if you find that discussion useful, please put some comment on the comment pad that help us to, if you like it, right? If you don't like it, okay, you can put that or whatever. But I really like to thank you for taking time out, and I know you're busy and you spend time and full energy and make the session very exciting. And thank you, Rahul, for this. Appreciate your contribution.
No, thank you, Dharam, for inviting. I wouldn't do that for anyone, but I would do that for you, Dharam. Just kidding, but thank you for supporting me through the journey. I do see you as a mentor, and I want to thank you for this opportunity as well.
Great. And I'd like to thank you, all of you today, joining this program. And I know some people, I saw one person from Malaysia, and you're saying you are midnight for you. And I appreciate that. Even though it's midnight or late night, I know India is also late night. Many people from India, Malaysia, and other part of the world joining. So that shows that you are really hungry for learning. And if I can be, or Rahul can be any contribution to you, and Rahul is also available on LinkedIn. So please reach out to him and he can be your mentor, who knows. And as I said, the world is very big and you will find there are a lot of people available in the market, not market, but he said LinkedIn or the places. Even though you don't know them, you never met, they can be your best mentors. And I'm fortunate that I've gone through so many learning, helped so many people, and they gain out of this. And I can't wait to see you guys in my class. I know some of the people already registered or will register. Happy to have you here. Once again, thank you. Appreciate your contribution, Rahul, and appreciate your question, guys. And the next program is on 20th of November with Marvin Lazo. He's from US and he's going to be another exciting program. And December 4th is going to be with LA with my student. I'll tell her later. She is going to join from Dubai. So I'm trying to bring as many people as I can. And if you are one of the person you like to be part of my discussion, of course, one of the things is you have to be my student. I'm a little bit greedy on that. And because the discussion is you have to learn some of the things, but also you have to contribute as well into this journey. But I am looking forward to see you, Rahul, in Phoenix on 12th. And we're going to have exciting night. Anybody coming to Phoenix, please let me know. Message me that I'm coming, and we definitely going to have some time spare. We can have a separate time and we have discussion. But love to see you and all of you guys. So take care. Till next time. Bye now.
Thank you, everyone.